Hello. We're going to continue on with our StringGrid development. When we left off, this is the grid that we had designed. And we added some functionality to these columns. First name is always capitalized, no matter whether you're using lowercase or uppercase. The last name is always in lowercase, even if you type uppercase characters. And the birth date only allows the / and the numerals 0 through 9 to be entered. And that's pretty much where we left it. Now, something that I noticed, and you may have noticed it too, is that when we run this, it's running now, nothing seems to have focus. There's no cursor, there's no flashing cursor in the first name field. And if I type something, ABC, nothing happens. Now I noticed if I press the tab key, look in the last name field. You see that the tab key causes the cursor to land in the last name field, but it must have come from the first name field. So I am kind of flummoxed. Now I checked the form, okay? If I clicked on the form, and if I go up here, you'll notice it says the active control. This was I tried this off camera. This was originally set to none. And I thought, well, maybe if I set the active control to the string grid, then when the application starts up, that will receive focus. Well, it didn't, because we just tried it and it didn't, right? You can have the button, or the only two items on the form right now are the button and the string grid. You can have the button or the string grid be the active control. But it doesn't seem to make any difference. The string grid it's evidently focused, but you have to do something in order to get it to work. And my opinion, if it's the first control defined on the form, it ought to receive focus and be active. But even if you set it active, it doesn't appear to work that way. It's almost like it's not in edit mode or something. I don't get it, because I think I have set this thing up. I think the options have been set up in here to have it in edit mode. It's enabled. And let's look here. Is there okay, enabled? And then now if you look down through here, all right. Where are the options for this? Oh, first of all, I gotta it helps if you focus on the control you're looking at, right? So now we'll look down through this list. It's enabled, yes. And we get down here to options, and I expand that list. It says, go always show the editor true. auto add rows. We had set that to true and that worked. We tested that before. Okay. Go editing. So it should be in edit mode. I mean, that's what I think. But what do I know? Let's try running it again and see if there's some way we can get it to start. Okay, now it's running. Okay. If I hit function keys, do any of these work? F1, F2, F3, 4. What about Control F1, F2, F3? How about Shift F1, F2, F3? I don't get it. In order to start up in the first name field, I actually have to position on the cell and click it. And now you can see the cursor flashing in there, and now I can enter something. I don't think you should have to do that. Anyway, I did some playing around before today, and I found a way of making this happen. So what you have to do is you have to select the entire form, and you go into events, and we're going to select the form show event. So it's on form show, which where is that? On show. Okay, they call it on show, but it's going to come up as form show. So you double click that. See, it's now form show. And here's our event skeleton that was created for us, the procedure. And now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on edit mode for the form. So it's, edit mode for the string grid. Okay. So it's string grid 1, I think. Yep. And we want to turn on editor mode. So we would type edit, editor done, editor mode. There it is. And we'll set that to true. Okay. And now the next thing we want to do is we want to focus on the string grid. So that's the next step, is we do string grid 1, set focus. That doesn't take any arguments. That's it. Now let's save this, and let's run it and see if that works. Ah, you see that? That's what we wanted to have happen. When this application runs, the string grid is in edit mode and it receives focus. I think that should automatically happen, but what do I know? Okay. The other thing I want to do is I want the title on this, the title on our form, not be form 1. This is the caption. I'm going to change it to be string grid demo. Okay. kind of explains what we're doing. Okay. So let's move on. I thought today would be interesting to modify this so that it demonstrates some of the events and how they work. Probably the best way to do this, I'm gonna use this bottom of the form here. I'm gonna make the form, I'm gonna size it a little bigger. And I'm going to add some fields. What I want to do is, when we're on this with the string grid, we have all these events that we can hook up, and a lot of them, they're probably pretty important. I mean, they're very useful. And so what I thought I would do today is add some functionality to this form, the string grid, and demonstrate how it works. Because even though, I mean, if you click on these event names and you read, then you read down below what they do. Like, okay, we've used the on key press event, right? But there's a key down event. There's a key up event. There's mouse down, mouse enter, mouse leave, mouse move, mouse up. What do these things do? It would be kind of nice to see what they do and have it kind of displayed in real time on the screen as they happen. At least that's my thought on it, and it'll give us some practical application knowledge for a string grid that might come in handy in the future when you're designing something. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to allow these columns to be resized. So we go back to, we're in the string grid. We go back to the properties thing. Let's see, where is that? I'm gonna slew down through here, options, and here we go. Column sizing, that's currently false. Let's allow the columns to be resized. Okay. And let's think that's all I'm going to change for right now. Oh, that's actually row sizing. Yeah, that's true. Okay. I think I was playing with that. That wasn't set the last time we worked on this. I've been playing around with this, and I think I set that. So we'll pretend I just set that. So we're going to allow the rows to be resized as well. Okay. So let's just, with those options selected, let's just recompile it and see what it lets us do. Let's run it. It's running. Okay. Okay, you notice now when the cursor drags over to the divider between first name and last name, it forms that double arrow. Now if I hold the mouse button down, the left mouse button, and I drag, you see it's allowing me to resize this. Okay, that could be pretty handy. Let's see if it'll let me resize rows too. Yes, if I drag the mouse pointer over the divider, I can make the rows taller as well. Okay, that's cool. Okay, we've done that. So you do that by changing the options in the properties for the string grid. You turn on you turn on that functionality. So let's look at these events, and let's start hooking some events up and see how they work. So let's set up the key down event on key down, Now if I select that and I read down below here, it says this event handler is signaled for key down keyboard events. The key down key event property with the event handler signaled to handle a key down event for the control. The event handler receives keys including control and other non-visual keys. It is signaled when assigned from the key down method. Okay. Well, let's we'll select the. We're selecting the string grid. We're going to events, and let's double click this empty box, and it will create a on key down event. There it is. So here's the skeleton for it, and there's nothing inside yet. So key down sends back the key that's pressed, and it's expressed as a word. I think a word is 32 bits. I think. I'm not sure. I think a word is 32 bits. And then there's a shift state. Now that indicates whether the shift key has been pressed or not, I believe. I believe it might be more than that. Yes. It'll indicate if the shift key is pressed, if the alt key is pressed, if a control key is pressed, if left, right, and middle. I don't know what middle is. I don't know what middle is. Anyway, what we're going to do now is, so we're going to need a key and a shift state. And we're going to want to display the event. Okay. So let's add that to our form. So we're going to have a key event. So the name of this, okay, the caption was going to be key event, because it's related to pressing a key. Okay. And we're also going to need the actual key. So we're going to have another label which will say, line them up here. Okay. Drag it over here a little bit. And yeah. So this is just going to be the key, right? So let's put in key, and then we have a shift state. So let's add a label for that. We'll call that shift state, right? Come on, yeah, come on. Line up. I'll have to use the control key. It's fighting me. There we go. And we're going to call this the shift state. Shift state. We'll just call it shift. That's what they call it in the... It's a shift state, but they just call it shift. So that's what we'll call it. And we're going to use a panel to display all of this. So I'm going to click a panel, plop it on the form. Doesn't need to be so tall. And that's probably about right. And there we go. And we're going to call this, first of all, the caption is going to be, there's not going to be a caption. It'll be blank. And right now I'm not going to name it because I'm going to copy it a couple of times. So it's currently selected. I hit Control C to copy, click on the form, Control V, and now we have a copy, right? And the key value is not that big. We'll just make it like about that. And then we're going to need another one about the same size. So I'll do Control C, Control V, and there's our shift code. All right. So we're going to call this panel, start naming these now. So this is going to be PNL key event. All right. That's what that's going to be called. And this panel is going to be called, it's just going to be panel key. And this one is going to be called panel shift. Okay. So they're named just the way they are in here. So now we've got this event. So when this event happens, the first thing we're going to say is the name of the event, right? So this is key. Oh, and we already have key press too. Yeah, we've got key press too. We got to add some functionality for that. Let's see up here. Okay. Yeah. Before we finish that one, we should put up here the same deal. So I want it to everything before we modify it. So we're going to have, we're going to say the panel key event dot caption, right? It's a caption, is equal to, and in this case it's key press, just the way it appears, key press, just the way it appears here in the procedure name. Okay. And then we want to display the key. We're going to be displaying the key for a couple things here. So let's write a function that's what it does. It just displays the key. Okay, so I'm going to create a function that displays the key. So here we're going to call it, I'm going to put it in private, and it's a procedure, and the procedure is going to be called display key. Okay. And key press. Okay, it's a character, so we're going to put in key, and it's type character. That. Okay, so we've added a procedure. It's a private one. And I'm going to put it right here. So it's procedure. since it's a member of this form, we got to prefix it with the form name. And this is going to be called display key. And it gets passed a key of type character. Yeah, that's what we want. Begin, end, and what are we going to do? So we say if the, so we would just, well, we just say panel key caption. Caption is equal to, we got to make it a string. This caption's a string, so we have to tell Pascal that we want this character to be treated as a string. And so right here, I'm just going to say display key and pass it key, like that. Okay. Let's look at our form. Oh, now we got to do the shift thing. All right. So the shift thing, oh, we don't do it here. Yeah, this key press event doesn't pass a shift state to it. So that's all we got to do. All right. Let's see if this much works. So let's save what we got. Let's run it. Okay. So if I press the letter A, okay, you see it. It's showing the key press event as the key event that happened. It shows the letter that was typed. I typed a lowercase a. Now an uppercase A appeared up here because we modify it. First name is always displayed as uppercase. But this is showing us the letter that it actually got when the key was pressed. Okay? All right. So that's key press event. Let's close it. We created an empty event down here for key down. So key down will work kind of the same way, right? So we can take this stuff right here and do a control insert, and then come down here and do a shift insert. But instead of this being key press, this is now going to be key down. All right. And see, there's, I don't know why they use word here. So what are we going to do? We have to do something a little different. don't we? I think we have to pass, this is key down. So I think what we have to do here is, here we go, key down. Yeah, I think we have to, I think we have to do, yeah, I think we have to display it as a character. So you see what's happening. It's treated as a word, but display key only displays characters. So I have to cast key as a character. That's what I have to do. Before I call a display key, I have to do that. Otherwise, it's going to complain that it's not typed properly. Oh, now we have shift state as well. So now I want to set that panel to show if the shift key has been hit. So in order to do that, I've done some research in advance, and it turns out that shift is T-shift state is an enumeration. And if I want to show the value, the integer value for that enumeration, the documentation said that I have to cast it as an ordinal. And I tried that, and it didn't work. It gave me error messages. It turns out you have to cast it as a cardinal, I believe. Yes. So what we want to do is we want to set the panel. So panel shift state, panel shift state is dot, it's a caption. Oops, oh. Huh. Now why is it doing that? Why is it doing that? Oh, it's panel shift. That's why. It's not panel shift state. It's panel shift dot caption. Okay. And that's going to be set equal to, now we're going to have to format this. So we're going to do a format. And it's going to be treated as an integer. So that's, I'm going to do a hexadecimal value. That's what I'm going to do. So we're going to do hexadecimal, right? And then it's a list of pointers. So we do this, and then in this list, we pass the cardinal value of shift. Okay. So that will format it as a hexadecimal value. And if I'm going to show this as a hexadecimal value, okay, let's do this. I'm going to throw some spaces here. So to show that it's a hexadecimal value and not a decimal integer, I'm going to output that two single quotes or apostrophes makes one to embed it inside of a string. So the string starts with X, then it's followed by an apostrophe, and that's the end of the string. And then that will get appended to the formatted hexadecimal value for the cardinal of shift, and I'm going to append a single apostrophe to the end of that. So I'm going to add that on there. Okay. And that's it. That's the key. Yeah, that's the event name down and the key that was passed. And the shift state. So that's all we need for that. That should work. Okay. So now we can test that. So let's save these changes and we'll run it. Okay. Let's type a letter A. There's a key press. Now, what if I hit backspace? Uh-oh. Huh. Oh. I see what it's doing. That's not a displayable character. Ah. Ah. I'm going to have to change our display thing here, aren't I? Huh. Okay, display key's got to change. That. Okay, display key is not right. If that's a hexadecimal value, I'm going to have to display it as a hexadecimal value, aren't I? Yeah, okay. How am I going to do that? I'm going to have to test to see if it's displayable as a character, or if it's going to be displayed as a hexadecimal number. That's what I'm going to have to do there. Display key is not, that can't work that way. So we're going to say if the key is greater than a space, right? Yeah. Then do this. Okay. Okay. And we backspace, and then we say else. We're going to do something else. And the something else is panel key caption is equal to, I'm going to format again, and it's going to be hexadecimal character and I guess we say cardinal. It's an integer. Or can we just say key? I think X will work just fine with key. I think that'll work. There's one way to find out, right? Well, let's try it. Save it and run it. Okay. Typed an A. And now we hit a backspace. Ooh. Invalid argument index in format. No, it does not like character. I was afraid that was going to happen. Is that still running? Yeah, it's still running. Shut that down. I think I got to say cardinal here. And that will make it an integer. And that will work with this format for hexadecimal, I believe. Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? So we're going to run it again. Oh, let's save what we got here. Now let's run it. A backspace. Ah. Okay, that worked. That worked. No, I got to put that hexadecimal around there. It makes it look like I typed in an 8. I didn't. Yeah, I got to change that. I got to fix that up. That's not right. Okay. So we got to do the same thing here. We got to say it's an X plus this. And then at the end, we got to say plus that. That fixes it. Now let's run it. Okay. We need an A. And I hit a backspace. There it is. It's a hexadecimal 8. Okay, so that works. So now we got key press events trapped. All right, moving along. Now let's see. We did key press. And we did key down. Now let's do key up. So we got to get our string grid highlighted here. That's what we're working on. I don't like string grid. It's too long. Let's change this. Let's make this SGrid. Shorten it up a little bit. There we go. Now you notice when we changed that, everywhere it was referenced, it changed it for us. So that's a lot shorter now. I like that. Okay. So it's SGrid. All right, so now we're gonna go, we're on SGrid, we're gonna go to events, and we got key, let's do key up next, okay? So we got key up, here we go, here it is. I think that's gonna work the same way. That's gonna do the same thing that key down does. Huh. Shoot. Well, I'm just going to copy the code in there. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, it doesn't do exactly the same thing, but pretty close. All right. So we're going to do Control C to copy it. Then we're coming up here. Going to do a Control V. And this is called key up, not key down. It's up. All right. All right. Key up's now done. Those are all the key events, right? Let's save this and let's run it and let's just see how this works. Okay. He typed A. Is my cap lock key on? Oh. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's even though I typed a lowercase a, you see it flashes when it's the key down event. It's a lowercase a, and when I let the key up, it's an uppercase a. That's because I changed it, didn't I? Let's take a look at this. Display key. Yes, I did. That's why I changed key. That's why. Okay, yeah, that's why it's doing that. Because I'm displaying, key is a variable, right? Don't do this right now. Okay. See, the var means that when I change the value of key in here, it gets passed back. It's like it's a reference. It's almost like I'm passing the pointer to key. And when I change key, I'm actually physically changing it outside of this procedure. So that's why it's doing that. Okay. Okay, so we have all the key events now. So that gives you a flavor. Let's do something that the shift key. Okay, let's do. Let's run it now. Okay, so I'll type in A, lowercase a, and then I'll hit the tab key. Okay. Now you notice key up. Tab key is a hexadecimal 9, right? No shift key. Now if I hit a shift tab, that should put me back to the first name cell, right? So shift, notice that? Do you see what that did? If I hit tab, and now I hit shift tab, shift, see, as soon as I hit the shift key, the key down event triggers, right? And then in here, when I hit the shift key, see that? So 0 is not shifted, 1 is shifted. And then when I hit shift tab, you see? That's a tab key, and that's the shift key. Now I'm going to release the shift key. That goes to a hex 10 when I release the shift key. There must be some significance to that. I don't know what that is. All right. And I suppose if I hit a Control C, what will happen? Control. Okay, Control is a shift code 4. See that? Now if I hit Control C, Control C. Isn't that interesting? Control C. It's a 3. As long as I hold the C down, see that? The key is still pressed. It's a Control 3. Interesting. Hold the Control key down, hold the C key down, 3. Now if I lift the C key up, you see that? It says a C. And then I release the Control key, it goes to 11. There's got to be some significance to that. Okay. So let's look at mouse events. Okay. And we're still looking at the string grid. And what have we got here? We have mouse down, mouse enter, mouse leave, mouse move, mouse up. I don't use mouse wheel events. I suppose you can. The mouse wheel does do things. Let's just fire it up. Run, run. You see where the cursor is here? It's in first name, first row. If I take the mouse wheel and I scroll down, you see what it does? It's moving the cursor down. And I'm still moving down, but it's frozen at row 4. Now if I move it back the other way, you see, it's scrolling up through the column there. So that's what that does. And I guess you can trap those events and do something with them. I'm not going to mess with it. Okay, so let's look at what mouse down does. Okay, excuse me. So here's mouse down. double click it. It creates this skeleton for me with the procedure set up. Pretty good. So this is going to have, okay, so it passes a button. So that's like the left or right or middle button, I would assume. And in fact, what does it say here? Okay, I'm hovering over button, and then the little help box opens up, and it says that T mouse button. Okay, it's an enumeration. It's MB left, MB right, MB middle, MB extra 1, MB extra 2. So some mice have extra buttons on them, and I guess it'll handle up to 5 buttons, it looks like here. And it also, you can do a shift key. So like you can do a shift click or a control click, and that's what the shift state is again for, okay? And then it also passes back the XY coordinate of when the mouse button was pressed, okay? So we got a lot to display there. Let's take a look at our form. So mouse events are going to be separate. I'm going to take this, Control C, Control V. This is going to be our mouse events. And I better change the name of that before I forget. So this is going to be mouse event. Panel mouse event. And the next thing is the button that was pressed. So I'll just take this, Control C, Control V, stick it here. And now we're going to have a shift key. So I'll just copy this one. Like that. There we go. And I'll just pop a new label here. And the caption on this label, that's going to be mouse event. Alrighty. And let's just move that, line it up. That. And let's line this up. That's lined up. That's lined up. And mouse event, and then it's the mouse button. So we're gonna need another label here. Just call this button. Okay. I'm not putting names on these labels, am I? Gotta name them. So that's going to be label mouse event. And this is label button. Okay. And we're going to have shift again. I just take it and copy it. Like that. No, I never even labeled that one, did I? Did I label this one? No. Did I label that one? No. Okay. So that's label key event. And this is label key. And this is label key shift, actually, right? And this one is label mouse shift. Okay. And this is panel. This is going to be mouse shift. And this is panel mouse button, mouse event. Okay, and now we've got X and Y coordinates, right? So I'll just take this and put it right here, and we'll stretch it a little bit, and we'll just say and this is going to be a new label. This is going to be what? Mouse. Yeah, this is mouse. We'll just say label mouse XY. That. And then the caption is mouse XY. There we go. And we need to line that up. There we go. So we're going to fill those in on these mouse events, right? So let's go back to our code. So we're going to have the button. So let's see, that's a mouse down event. Yeah. So we got panel mouse event caption, and that's equal to mouse down. Make it look like it's supposed to. There we go. And then now we're going to have to do the mouse button caption. So we've got the panel. Yeah, let's drag that down here a little bit. There we go. Panel mouse button, right? So we got the mouse button. What am I doing here? Caption. And that's going to be, oh, okay. This is a hexadecimal number again. So we're going to do x plus format, and that's going to be x, this, and the value is a button. It's cardinal. Button. And plus that. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. All right, and then we're going to have the shift state, which is panel mouse shift, panel mouse shift, and that's a caption, right? Yeah. And that is going to be the same as above. Same thing as above. So we just hit Shift N, Control C, and Control V. Except it's not button, it's now Shift, right? Shift. Okay. And now we have the X and Y coordinates. That's the last thing. And this is called panel what? I think it's mouse XY. Yeah. No, I didn't do that. Did I? No, I didn't rename that. So this is yeah. The name is supposed to be mouse XY. It's XY. So this is panel mouse XY caption is equal to, and these are going to be decimal numbers, right? I think so. And that's %D. First of all, I got to say format. %D, comma, %D. Decimal numbers. Okay. And then I've got to pass it the X and Y. So X, comma, I got to make it look like it's not case sensitive. It is not case sensitive. I think that's all we got to do there. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. So, save this and let's see if that works. Alrighty. Run it. All right. What if I click on this box right here? What if I move over here and click this box? What if I click over here? Yeah. You see what's happening? Now, here's an interesting thing. I'll click in the first name, first row box, right? Now you notice the cursor changes here. This is no longer a mouse pointer. It's the I-beam cursor for doing text. So if I click now, I'm not going to get a mouse down event. You see? If I drag it over a little bit, you see there's nothing changing. I'm clicking and nothing's changing. Interesting, I'm getting a shift. I'm getting let's go over here and see if I click this. Okay, see it changed? If I come back to the first name field, because I have an arrow now, and I click it, you see that? Okay, so that's interesting. If I hit a letter, it's showing a shift state of 0 here. But when I click on a box, it's showing a shift state of 8. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. So we've got the mouse down event now. And I think we've covered enough for today right now. And I think what I'm going to do is we'll continue on. We'll add the rest of the mouse events in the next time we get together. We'll add the other mouse events. Yeah, we've covered quite a bit today. So we solved that issue with the StringGrid not getting edit focus when it first starts up, even though it's the first element in the form. It isn't receiving. It's not receiving focus or something. It's not going into edit mode. You have to force it to do that by hooking up the on form show event. I don't know why you would have to do that, but that's what's happening. And form show might not be the right thing. You might want to have it form activate, although I'm not actually sure about that. Anyway, if you find this content useful or interesting and you'll like it, give me a like. And if you want to see more, subscribe. And please, if you want to make a comment, comments help me get more exposure. And so if you comment and like, I'll get more exposure and I'll have more people that will hopefully sign up and follow it. But until later, when I'm sorry I let this, it's been over almost 2 weeks since I think I did the last one. And I'll do my best. I'll try to get back in the groove and and make a regular post at least once a week. So anyway, until then, guys, have a nice day.